Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is episode 73, the 116th episode. Reminder, nothing on here, as always, is ever financial advice. This week on Number Go Up, the number of Bitcoin futures ETFs. Go and look at, there's some interesting things around this, but one way or another, if it is actually approved, I actually don't know that, but I think it's approved from what I hear, from what everybody hears, but I have no idea. So anyway, interesting stuff. Next, Dragonchain updates. First up, about our membership in BPSAA. They are starting to increase activity, doing a lot of interesting things, really good set of projects in the BPSAA. Go and check them out. Go and check out the other projects. Recently, they had part one of a smart contracts podcast. Link is in the description below. Part two is coming up. Go check that out. We have another partner update with Rainmaker. They recently announced a giveaway of the only remaining remnants of a destroyed wall mural by the famous street artist Banksy. And it is in NFT form, of course. Go check that out. Support Rainmaker where you can. The entire system is powered by Dragonchain, so we love them. It's amazing stuff. They have some pretty cool things going on. Next, we have Den.Social updates. So the October 2021 LCP results are in. It just completed about an hour ago. I think that's right. The winner is Throwbacks, the Throwbacks layer proposal, and a last-minute upset with 3.4 million lore and 61 unique voters. So they won both categories, the lore count and the number of unique participants. So the proposer and the denizen who committed the most lore will have admin rights until we turn on layer governance, which is coming relatively soon. We are just now starting on the coding for that, so expect good things there. That'll be really fun because it'll be easier to manage communities and easier to get good ideas in. It'll be a good thing. So give us at least a week to create this layer, and congratulations everyone who threw some lore into that. It's pretty cool. The description itself of Throwbacks, I think, is interesting too. I think hopefully we'll have some pretty good content in there. It'd be fun. Next on Den, we have we are working on the final components for the matter tipping implementation. Again, as described, we gave a demo last week. If you missed that, there is a link in the description, or there will be, for you to go back and watch the demo. It will change slightly, of course. The demo was in the dev environment, and it will include, the functionality will include the ability to tip matter, lore, and lot. Nearly everything is complete. We're doing final testing right now. Hopefully we'll see it rolled out in the next week or two. It kind of depends on how everything performs in testing and if there are any big changes that we need to make. We are also, related to that, reviewing the discussion in a DIN governance layer regarding fees. So find a link to that. Go to the DIN gov layer. Check out the discussion. Weigh in what you think. If you let's see here, and I think I guess I wouldn't want to say what the consensus is right now, but there is the difference between tipping only matter, tipping energy, or using energy to make the tip, and a few other very interesting options. There's also a lot of discussion about if we do have let's say a matter tip fee, where does the fee go? And we've had some interesting discussion yesterday that I haven't been able to put in there yet as well. So keep your eyes on that post and take part in that discussion so we know. We assume it's going to roll out without fees, and then we'll figure out what to do after, but it'll all be based on what the governance board decides. So get in there and talk about that. This week, there will be no DIN governance call. We're doing that the DIN gov call every other week. And actually, when we turn on the layer governance, and especially when we turn on the new model for site-wide governance, we will probably start having that weekly. But right now, it won't be this week. It'll be next week on October 28th at 12 Pacific. And speaking of layer governance, we are, how do I say this? A couple of things to talk about there. That will hopefully be rolling out soon, as we said. And we're actually looking at it as a way to sell what we would call governance as a service. And we'll be having a discussion in the DIN gov layer about how to handle whales with greater than 50% ownership of a layer. That was always kind of an issue that effectively you could if you were a whale, you could get feedback, but you would basically be the deciding vote every time. So we have some ideas on how to handle that and what to do in those cases, and we want to have a discussion with everybody before we roll that out, because those will be very important answers to the model itself. The last bit of updates we have, World Blockchain Roundtable update this week, episode 22, Blockchain for Marketplaces, is this Thursday. So go to the post, leave a topic or question if you want something answered or talked about by the hosts, and do vote to help us decide which other questions should be on the show. Also, watch and share last week's episode now. The more views it gets, the more all of the participants from last week will get in lot. So that's all the updates. Right after this, we'll come back with the top 3 questions for a quick AMA. All right.
Stop when the clock hits 13. You've been working, but you're flirting with the weekend. You can freak out. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look, we do it.
Okay, top 3 questions. All right, so we're doing this every week, so always make sure you get in there and vote in the questions, and everybody who gets a question on air will get one, I think it's one lot in the Dragonchain layer. So first up, Fust, what is the theoretical maximum throughput of a single L1 chain? That's a good question. It depends. I guess the theoretical is nearly, I wouldn't say infinite, but it is theoretically unlimited, fully depending upon your hardware, your throughput, your environment, everything else that you might have. So anything you could do to tune a traditional system, a traditional environment, could be done with a Dragonchain node. So you could run any amount. Now, we do have, and this actually is what I originally thought you were asking when I first read it, we do have a measured theoretical capacity for the network that is DragonNet, which includes the near to 2,000 nodes that are Dragonchain nodes from level 2 to level 5, and also Bitcoin and Ethereum on the level 5 nodes. That it's radically high. I can't remember. It's in the billions per day. So you can go look at the energy sustainability report. So if you just go to Google and search for Dragonchain sustainability or Dragonchain energy, I think you can see the blog post from a couple of months back that has a few places where we took the first crack at measuring what the capacity of the network was, because we were trying to answer the question for a couple of customers about energy efficiency and carbon, the carbon footprint and all of those things. So it's a really good paper. Go and read that report. And in there, it does talk about the theoretical capacity for the network itself. So those two things hand in hand, I guess the answer is it's theoretically unlimited, but it's hard to describe, in a way that people will understand and believe you half the time. But it's just software. It's just a system. So it's not like we're doing the same thing as Ethereum. So that's sometimes the issue. Goose Creek Unlimited. Will you elaborate on tokenizing time? Any info would be appreciated, because I know it's a huge reason most early adopters are still holding the Dragon token. Are you talking about the time itself is the reason? Either way, I can't elaborate too much. I mean, I guess what I could say a few goals, and you can imagine what the goals are. We want to still retain the value of time. That is, not make it so that it becomes pointless to hold dragons if you can just transfer the time without any cost or loss, right? So we have to maintain the value of time in order to maintain scarcity, in order to make the economy for DragonNet, which is scalability based upon time scarcity, and for which we have a patent. We have to maintain that, right? So you think about it, you maintain that, and then yet you want to let people be able to somehow trade that time, and or use that time in some way that makes sense, so that a business coming in can independently get time apart from coming to Dragonchain directly, right? So right now they could go, someone in the community could find a potential opportunity. They could facilitate the build out, whether they did the development, whether they hired development, whether they worked with Dragonchain to develop it, and they could employ their time as part of the project. And that would be a way to profit, and that would work, but it's not the most scalable way to do it, right? That requires a lot of direct interactions between people. So we want something that you could effectively do that with very hands-off. It's okay, I have time, I'm going to make it available for a business that comes in to use. And we had the CTLC, which was the time lending contracts, and we're rolling that out because it was not scalable and the model was not well defined. It was very, very early that was built out. So there are some things coming, and we're just waiting for timing and waiting for the right amount of volume and everything else before it would make sense for us to build it, so that we know that what we're building is usable and useful. So anyway, it's the best I can do. Thanks. Next, Angel Breaker. Can you please explain the, quote, secure deployment of open source and proprietary software on a non-technical level, ideally on a free-to-choose example? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but so about the secure deployment of open source and proprietary software, I assume there are a couple of things that could be from, I don't know if that came from, just a marketing point, something in one of the articles or ads, but effectively, we use a standards-based approach to security. And the reason we do that is because when a customer, particularly certain customers won't care. It's okay. I just want the vanilla that you offer. I'm going to run with that until it matters. And then I can do something more purposeful with the security involved. But some customers want or need or require different levels of security or deployment security or any number of things. So using a standards-based approach, we can very quickly integrate into their environments. Their DevOps staff understand already all the rules necessary, and there's not the normal issues that you would have with integrating and socializing a blockchain environment into a traditional enterprise system, or integrating it into a set of systems. So if it's that side, that's the answer. If it is the product side, where we do have some products related to behavior, and I've given a few talks on using blockchain to better enable an open source or software community. There are some things there, and that a lot of that relates to behavior systems. And then the third way that I could answer this would be related to how we can handle what we call a software delivery supply chain, or the regular delivery workflow that a lot of software projects use. That we do have some methods that are very interesting that I even worked on way before we launched Dragonchain, but it's basically a way to prove that the artifacts that you are downloading, whether you are installing them yourself or whether it's, let's say, a mobile app that is pulling down new artifacts or new firmware for IoT devices, that there are ways to measure and ensure that you are getting an uncorrupted file, uncorrupted binaries. So anyway, that's an interesting thing too, and that is that one I would want to explain. Sorry, it's a long answer, but that one's very interesting because it means that a device or a mobile app or any other software app can effectively look at the new firmware or new artifacts that it is supposed to pull down and install. It can check that everyone in the delivery chain has weighed in positively. That is, it can verify that of all the roles that I care about, that let's say that the requirements and business team has signed off on it, the dev team has signed off on it, the test team, the QA team has signed off on it. Maybe there's even a financial authority that has to sign off on it, and then security has signed off on it, and whoever else, maybe the business itself as well signs off on it again, and that anyone can transparently view all of those signatures when they pull down the delivery. They can check the timing on them, make sure it makes sense and follows whatever rules you put in place, and then can check the hash. You can check the payload itself and see that it is what it is supposed to be using before it allows or before it installs or uses those files. So it's relatively simple because you're just talking about checks on a timeline. So if you talk to a non-technical person, it would be the fact that you would have to at least get them to understand the concept of a digital signature, and they don't have to understand the math behind it or how it works, how people do it. They just have to understand the logic and the magnitude of which the proof is there, that on the one hand, only a person with that key could sign that. So if you have a whole set of people signing it, it's very secure because someone would have to compromise all of those keys independently. On top of that, they would also have to compromise the blockchain itself. They'd have to compromise anything where you're showing who owns those keys. And anyway, it's you could go to any depth, but it's not too hard if you talk on a logical level to explain it to a non-technical, non-crypto person. So anyway, let me see. I think that is it. I think that is the last update. Yes. So in closing, watch Super Happy Dragon Lucky next Tuesday, same time. Buy Dragonchain and Den merch at Dragonchain store. See, I have the OG JoJo here. Watch the roundtable this Thursday. Follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, JoJo Row. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I think it's everything. Thanks a bunch. Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.